So YouTube just sent me this email, a legit warning to creators saying millions of Australians under the age of 16 may lose access to YouTube entirely. This doesn't mean just an overall loss in views, but kids could be cut off from the content they rely on daily. And no, this isn't some random spam email pretending to be YouTube. This is real, a real new Australian government regulation.
Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it.
And to be honest, both sides take a hit. Creators lose views, community, and income, while millions of kids and teens lose access to something that's more than just fun videos. For a lot of people, it's a big part of how they learn and grow. It sounds dramatic, I know, but this would genuinely shift the entire creator space in Australia. And you know, I never thought I'd see the day where a government was beefing with YouTube, but here we are. So if you're still watching and you don't know, the Australian government has proposed a new law to completely ban kids under the age of 16 off all social media platforms. The goal is to try and protect young people from harmful content, cyberbullying, and all the risks that come with being online. This ban targets apps like TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat, basically anywhere kids might see unsafe content. And now YouTube's been added to that same list too, despite the Australian government previously stating in 2024 that YouTube would be exempt from their proposed regulations. Even though YouTube isn't usually seen as a social media platform like TikTok or Snapchat, it might have recently been included in this list as anyone can upload and interact with content, and the government plans to enforce this by making platforms verify users' age, using tools like AI, ID checks, or other tracking methods to do so. If a user is under the age of 16, the platform could be forced to block their access or face massive fines if they don't comply. And while the goal might publicly be to protect young people, it also raises some bigger questions. Is this really just about protecting kids? Or is it another step towards normalizing digital ID systems across the country? Because once age verification becomes mandatory, it doesn't stop at just verifying kids under the age of 16. To filter them out, you'll need to verify everyone's age. That means all of us could be handing over extremely personal and sensitive information just to access platforms we've previously used freely. And let's be real, once that kind of data is collected, it rarely stays in one place. It's not just your ID, photo, or address being shared. It's everything tied directly to your online accounts, your watch history, messages, posts. I'm talking anything you've done with a social media account could now be linked to your legal, verified identity if these new regulations proceed. This would create a legally verified digital footprint of each user for the Australian government to use however they want. A footprint that would follow you across the entire internet for the rest of your life. All this while opening the door to mass data collection, surveillance, tracking, and control. Now, beyond the privacy and legal concerns, it's about what we're taking away from the next generation. Surely nothing good can come from limiting young Australians' resources and access to education, ideas, creativity, and yeah, sometimes just fun. In 2024, a survey found that a staggering 84% of teachers in Australia use YouTube at least monthly in the classroom. That means this isn't just cutting resources for kids. It's also about adding stress and burden to the teacher's task with educating them. And learning doesn't stop at school. What people would call YouTube University has become the place where kids and even adults teach themselves new skills. From picking up new software programs to learning languages, so many of us have at least one skill or some wisdom they owe to YouTube. Imagine taking all that knowledge, all those resources, and locking it away from the very generation that's meant to build our future. I personally owe my entire career to YouTube being on it as a kid. As crazy as it sounds, it's 100% true. I taught myself how to edit videos through only YouTube at age 12. No teacher, no nothing, just me and YouTube. I remember even looking up how to download Sony Vegas on YouTube, then progressing into editing my own gaming clips. Fast forward a few years, and that ended up turning into a full-time job. No degree needed, just straight up self-taught experience from YouTube. Even now, I'm adding to that editing skill set through YouTube tutorials. Not to mention this channel and this whole community that came with it. All of it can be attributed to the first steps I took as a kid on YouTube. So for creators, it's not just about losing views or stats. It's losing connection, community, and yeah, income too. Around 76% of Australian kids aged 10 to 15 regularly watch YouTube. So when you do the math, that's roughly 1.5 million individual viewers. 1.5 million viewers who could just disappear overnight. For many creators, that's a huge chunk of their audience. the ones watching, engaging, and supporting. Often these kids are the reason content creation can be a full-time job for creators. Without those numbers and support, you might start to notice a few of your favorite creators suddenly struggling or even disappearing. When you think about it, an Australian trying to make content similar to someone like Kaiser Nat or something like that would struggle because the younger teenage audience just wouldn't be there to watch. I've been doing this for a while now. I've seen it all when it comes to YouTube, but this just hits different. It's not just consequences of breaking rules or YouTube's terms of service. It's our own government introducing new laws we all may have to follow in just 5 months' time. Even YouTube themselves have said it in their own blog post. They made it very clear. They don't view YouTube as a traditional social media platform, and they believe it plays a unique role in education, creativity, and learning, not just entertainment. This isn't just mindless doom scrolling, it's where kids discover passions, entertainment, and actually teach themselves lifelong skills. And this isn't the first time we've seen big tech companies push back against Australian regulation. In 2021, Meta temporarily blocked news content on Facebook in response to the News Media Bargaining Code. At the time, they made it clear, if the rules don't work for them, they're not afraid to pull services. And now with this proposal, there's a risk we'll see the same kind of tension with YouTube. If the regulations are too strict, too vague, or too costly to enforce, companies like YouTube could seriously reconsider how they operate in Australia, if at all. Because at the end of the day, if it's too complicated to comply, they might decide it's just not worth it. And look, I'm just one Australian creator, but I know I'm not alone in this. That email from YouTube wasn't just a heads up, it was a warning, a reminder that this isn't some distant policy change. It's something that could directly impact creators, viewers, students, teachers, and honestly, the future of the internet in Australia. Whether you're a kid learning something new, a teacher using YouTube in the classroom, a creator like me, or even just a general user of these platforms, it affects us all. YouTube email says they're pushing for the government to keep the exemption in place. So I'll be keeping an eye on this issue because I think Australian kids should still have access to YouTube in a way that's safe and age appropriate. It's so important that kids stay safe online, but it's also just as important that we keep finding better ways to educate them about how to protect themselves, rather than cutting off access to the tools and communities that help them learn and grow. If you think I've missed something, let me know, because this problem will not just disappear. I'm curious about everyone's opinions on the matter, especially if you're in the age range that this will affect the most. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you want more content like this, or just to be updated on this issue. As always, all my links in the description, that being my clothing brand Memory Faded, which is influenced by nostalgic gaming, like the old school Call of Duties. All my Instagrams, my streaming platforms are all down there too. And yeah, it's been Once Faded. Deuces.